McGuane gets past Brown. They're lifting the pies. They can sense it. McGuane's had 5 bounces. Nearly get another one. Round he goes. In he goes to an open goal. Mickey McGuane, goal of the year.
Mick McGuane joins us on Straight Up for this AFL preview thanks to Dankz Furniture.
You won't see better than that.
With 6 local stores in the metro area, there's one near you.
Yes, with Mick McGuane and also Rylie Morgan here on Straight Up. A very good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, boys. Mickey, good to be back with you. How are you this afternoon?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Riley. How are you, Marty? Hope you're well over there.
Yeah, beautiful day again, 25 degrees. So sort of heavy heart sort of a day with the passing of Robert Walls. Tell us about him from your perspective.
Yeah, Wallsy was quite an innovative coach because he coached in that era. I was fortunate enough to play in, Marty, and he wasn't everyone's cup of tea because on the outside he was perceived as pretty ruthless and pretty direct, but I sort of loved that in him. If I was a player under him, I'd want to be coached that way, to know exactly where you wanted to, where you stood. And even when he became a commentator, he didn't sugarcoat his opinion in any way, shape or form. He had that assertive nature that got his message across, and he was happy to stick with that opinion when challenged. And let's face it, the game of footy is littered with opinions. And when you listen to Robert Walls, some stories out of the Carlton days, yes, he was ruthless. Yes, he did want to do it his way. He had a country man's touch, though. He grew up just out of Maryborough at Denali. And then he ventured down to Melbourne, and he became quite an iconic figure as a player, but also through coaching ranks. You hear Chris Scott, blokes that were connected to him at that period of time, at their infancy of their careers. He certainly was a hard taskmaster, but in some ways they look back on that journey of their footy life and they say, well, maybe that's the man that shaped us and got us conditioned for AFL footy and its standards. And then you hear him in the commentary box. He sat on the couch with Mike Sheehan and Gerard Healy for years, and he just gave assertive opinion that he wasn't prepared to back away from. He loved the rivalry of Essendon and Carlton. Certainly played it up with him and Sheedy, which is always a central part of the conversation when those two clubs met, when they were coaching those respective clubs. But it was a sad day over here, probably sad day in the footy industry because he was an iconic figure, whether he's in the media or in the coaching or even as a player in his day.
And in the media as well, Mick, as you touched on there, even for me as a much younger fella, Marty, one of the first names I think of when I was growing up listening and watching football and intaking football, you go back to the Channel 10 days and Robert Walls, I thought he was early doors, comfortably one of the best commentators, provider of special comments. He was someone that I just loved listening to all the way through. And
Mick, as a coach, he was he was very innovative, wasn't he? And I remember, I heard today that when he got to Fitzroy, I think, or when he went back to Carlton, he had Franz Stamfel, who's a javelin thrower, world-class coaching athlete at the time, originally from Hungary. He had him. He's one of the first to get those type of athletic coaches to a football club.
Yeah, absolutely. He looked outside the square, and even in the game itself, I remember vividly, we had a team meeting about when we were playing, I think it was Carlton or it might have been Fitzroy, one or the other, and when he deployed the huddle on kick-ins, just to manipulate the space on the outside and utilise the kickers they had from kicking opportunities, and it was Lee Matthews that come up with, well, we're not just going to be carted around like a caravan, we're going to use 6 outriders, forward pocket, half forward and winger, times 2 on both sides of the ground to challenge those outriders who want to get into space, those exit players, the options they wanted to use on those kick-ins. So as much as he was innovative ahead of his time, it forced other coaches in the competition to say, well, let's not give them their want. We want to play a front-half game, and maybe if we do get towed around like a caravan, they're going to go from back to front pretty easily on a kick-in situation. So Matthews had to think, and he came up with a strategy to counter-attack what Robert Walls put in place, and it took a long time for other coaches to cotton on to what he was doing and how you defend it.
Mick, what about this game tonight? Kicks off round 10 of the season, and it's going to be an absolute beauty over there in Darwin. Gold Coast, who are 7-0 in the Northern Territory, taking on the Hawks. The Suns $1.54, Hawthorn at $2.45. The line at 10.5 points, and the total points 184.5. I'm sure you're looking forward to this game tonight, Mick. It's going to be a belter.
Yeah, it's going to be a great contest. Two outstanding teams in form at the moment, winning, obviously, which helps. But, geez, there's some value in Hawthorn, isn't there, in a two-horse race?
Well, they've
especially with the changes they've made.
Yeah, Gold Coast have been 181 into 154. So it's been 2 to 248, Hawthorn.
And I know that, that Lloyd Meek versus Jared Woods would have been a nice subplot in the game. Both those boys aren't playing. So Gold Coast and Hardwick are relying on Ned Moyle to shoulder the responsibility of ruck play, and Sam Mitchell's gone down the path of Ned Reeves, looking after Lloyd Meek, who's managed. Jack Gunston, who's in fantastic form, we know that. He's managed also. Jarman Impey's rebound's going to be missed, of course, for personal reasons. He's not playing. But then Barras comes in, Scrimshaw is a kicker, Love Kelce Adair and Cam McKenzie is a star through the middle of the ground. And if you're going to go have a head-to-head bet tonight in tonight's game, I reckon the $2.45 that Hawthorn are currently on offer, I reckon that's worth a little bit of a gamble because they're ridiculous odds in a two-horse race. Okay,
interesting. Tomorrow night, Sydney are playing Carlton. Sydney have been well back. They've been 174 into $1.55, and Carlton obviously go the other way, and they're 228 to 245. The line at 9.5.
DeConning confirmed out as well. Will not be playing tomorrow night
for Carlton.
Yeah, he's a massive out. There's no question about that. So does that open up the door for Mark Pitney to come in and fill that void? Probably.
Yep.
Will they use Lewis Young as a backup just in case? Probably. But Sydney obviously will get back a Marty. There's talk that he'll play. Mills might play his first game for a long time at AFL level. Adams, does he get back into the team? He had VFL managed minutes last week. He's also took the chance to play at the SCG. Sydney at $1.70 seems short enough, considering their win-loss record to this point. But I think they'll fancy their chances against the Blues. I won't be having a bet in this game, fellas, but I think Sydney, if I was forced to have a tip and a gun to my head, I think they're the team to beat.
And only won the one game from their last 10 at the SCG, the Blues. Yep. It's not a happy hunting ground for them. That is potentially why that market move, or has contributed, Marty, to that market move for the Swans as well, given we don't have those teams just yet. The first of the Saturday games is going to be a beauty as well. Really looking forward to this one. Collingwood taking on the Crows. We know that Darcy Moore will not be playing for the Pies. Collingwood still heavy favourites, $1.52. Adelaide at $2.55. A number of close games between these two sides in recent seasons. The line at 11.5 and the total points 170.5. Are your Pies potentially vulnerable on Saturday, Mick?
Yeah, well, from a market perspective, once again, Adelaide seem really good odds. They'll give themselves a chance against the Pies with their inside to outside game, accumulating uncontested possession, try to stretch the ground and make it as big as possible, get chalk on your feet with width and length. And if they get that right and they use the ball effectively, they'll challenge Collingwood's defence, particularly with Darcy Moore not playing. Pengels and Maynard will come back into the team, you'd think. Myercheck, he's hopeful of a return as well. That'll bode well for Collingwood as a whole. They'll fancy themselves at the MCG. They love playing there. And as you know, these last four occasions that these teams met, I think they're all resulted to Collingwood victories, but all under a goal. So from a closeness standpoint, I reckon it could be a great game, and it could be that, because I think Adelaide are continually improving both their offence and defence. We know Collingwood are at the forefront of both the balance they're displaying in offence and defence at the moment. They're hard to beat, but I think Collingwood will scrape over the line and once again beat Adelaide at the MCG. If it was at Adelaide, I'd probably think differently.
Just one on this, weather watch, up to 10 mil forecast, and it's forecast for in the morning. So if the rain was to fall, you'd think that'd suit Collingwood?
Yeah, I think so. Just a three-headed monster in slippery conditions. They might have to make some decisions around their entry and also whether the three-man tall forward line will work. If the ball lives on the ground, you know, Collingwood will win that ground ball in D50 and bounce out of there, and they've got that transition game that certainly can punish opposition teams, considering their speed in their front half, and they might go they won't go 3 and 3 as a whole. They might go 2 talls and 4 smalls because the ball might live in the ground due to the conditions.
We're speaking to Mick McGuane this afternoon on Straight Up, courtesy of Dankz Furniture. GWS taking on the Dockers. The Giants finally returning for a home game, Mick. The Giants are $1.36 favourites. The Dockers at $3.15. The line at 18.5 points, and the total points 174.5. How are you expecting this one to play out?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, when you see an emotional win like the Giants had down at the Cattery last week, can they back it up? You sort of soak in that glory for a few extra days than you should, and all of a sudden you go into a game flat, and Fremantle should be trying to attack this game with the same venom as if it was a home game. Toby Green, will he play? How bad's his ankle? That's a question mark. Toby Bedford and Stephen Cornelio, they're about to have tests. Bedford's a pretty key player, I would have thought. If he comes in, he's probably going to get a tagging role through the midfield and either go to Brayshaw's transition game or Sarong around stoppies to take first possession away from him so they don't kickstart their offence from letting Sarong get a dozen or so clearances. Is Sean Darcy going to play, boys? Because if he doesn't, probably McDonald comes in. Is that fair to say?
He's still listed as a test at this stage, Mick, and we haven't heard anything from the Dockers camp at this stage of the afternoon, but I think we'll know a bit more in an hour's time.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the Giants, even though they're short odds, they're probably one you could put in a multi. I think they'll get the job done. Frio's got the capabilities of winning this game, but can you trust them on the road?
No. What about this game on Saturday, 2:15, our time? Port at home, 2:20. Geelong are $1.67. Hasn't been much movement in the betting here. 6.5 points, the line.
Yeah, well, Geelong with Stewart probably likely to come in. Stanley's got a test. Humphrey's chance to return from his concussion protocols. Jack Henry, he's a test. He's a good player, Jack Henry. If those four players come back into Geelong, it'll freshen their team up and obviously shore up their defence and also their ruck stocks. And then you look at Port Adelaide and you say, well, what's going to happen? What type of Willie Rioli performance are we going to get? Will he play? I hope he does and let his actions do all the talking rather than being in the news for the wrong reasons the previous week. Kane Farrell will miss out. Travis Boak, does he come back into the team after playing his first ever SNFL game last week at 35 years of age?
Fair game too.
Story, isn't it?
Oh, he had it 37,
yeah, he
did
had
he?
35. Yeah,
Yep.
35. He was outstanding. And then you say to yourself, well, does Burgoyne push back to go to half-back where Farrell was and Boak goes to his familiar wing role that he's been playing the last couple of years? Or do they go with Logan Evans to come back in to shore up their defence as well? Port will look for a win at their home ground. Geelong will look to respond. I thought they missed their opportunities in front of goal, and that cost them dearly against GWS late in the game. Blixarve miss. That was a critical shot at goal. Obviously, Stengel's miss was also equally important. The decision of Dangerfield to go short to Shannon Neal just hit the deck or drop mark, whatever you want to call it. Made it difficult for him to mark the way he kicked it to him. So they had their chances, Geelong. They'll be ruining that. Just 4 points are 4 points. You've got to bank them and try to qualify. They'll bounce back strongly. But at the value, I'll probably tip Port. I won't have a bet in the game. But in saying that, I think Port could justify being the outsider ranking and maybe put some value into those that want to put them in a multi.
One of our most valued listeners, Mart, is our man doing the hard work on the ground out there at Perth Airport. He has texted in Fred from Fremantle and said that Sean Darcy was not on the plane to Sydney, so definitely won't be playing. So no Sean Darcy for the Dockers this weekend. The Bulldogs take on the Bombers. The Dogs $1.26, heavy favourites as expected in the form that they're in. The Dons at $3.85. The line at 24.5. The total points 176.5. Mick.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident the Dogs will bounce back strongly. I think their offence will really challenge Essendon's defence, which I must say has improved dramatically in the last 5 to 6 weeks. They've been hard to score against. We have to take into account who they've been playing based on ladder position, and you'd expect them not to get scored against heavily against those lowly ranked teams that the way the ladder currently sits. So I think Western Bulldogs, they'll sort of find a way to manufacture a win. It'll be based on their clearance work, winning contested footy and getting the ball deep and long and strong into their mobile forward line. I think they can kick a winning score.
Just one stat we're clinging to, Essendon, is the last 6 games at Darwin, teams coming back. It's 1-5, and the winner was Adelaide against West Coast at Adelaide Oval. So it would be hard, Mick, if you think about it. Saturday night, where do they do the recovery? What, in the pool, at the pub? they're on that big flight back home on Sunday. It can throw out your preparation, I think, for your next game, but particularly, you know, the amount of, the perspiration, sweat, you know, body weight you would lose. It'd be a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why you've got to back your sports science people in to make sure you get them a chance to have the energy levels to go into the next week and compete strongly right from the outset. Sometimes you can be slow starters and get into a groove, but it can be too late depending on the scoreline you give up early. But I think Luke Beveridge and his coaching staff, but also the playing group and also the sports science group, they'll get together and say, well, this is the way we've got to prepare.
Yep.
They'll manage their players really well during the week. I reckon they'll hit the ground running, especially the game played at Marvel. You have to have fresh legs and get across the ground. So Bevo's always ahead of the pack in relation to that. You say, how do you drop him? Maybe it's about bringing a fresh player in.
Yeah, you're right about that as well. 3 Sunday games, Richmond, North Melbourne. There's a point in it for the tipping comps. Which way is it going to go? $2.40 Richmond, North Melbourne $1.58. It's line 9.5 North. Don't play that well at MCG.
Yeah, well, they've got to learn
anywhere.
They've got to learn to do that. Yeah, well, this year they've only won the one game, but I reckon the last 3 weeks, Marty, have been really impressive.
Agreed.
They haven't won games, but they've been in games.
Yep.
And there's an argument they should have beat Brisbane Lions, last year's premiers, down there in Hobart last week. So I thought watching them last week, they should be able to build on that performance. Richmond, I like what they're doing as well as a young team. There's areas of improvement still in their game. There's no doubt about that. But I just reckon their front half game is more looking like a good team. It's not bouncing out there as quick. You know, the opposition aren't going from back to front like they were at the start of the year and scoring. So I think this will be a pretty tight tussle. I think North Melbourne will win, and I think the short odds they are currently, I think you can justify them by putting them in a multi. I'm expecting them to win this one.
Yep, me too, Mick. Brisbane take on Melbourne. Brisbane $1.16, Melbourne at $5.10. Very plucky last week up until three-quarter time against the Hawks. The line 31.5 and the total points 173.5.
Yeah, I think Brisbane will bounce back strongly. Geez, they were disappointing against North. Their renowned strength at clearance, their contested situations post-clearance win or loss was disappointing. And they just struggle to get the territory they generally do on the back of that strength they've got. So they'll reassess. And I love the way Lachie Neale spoke post-game. They just didn't get the game on their terms because those players around the ball probably didn't master the opposition as good as they could, and I'm expecting a real spike in performance, particularly at the coalface, and on the back of that winning clearance and then going from inside to out, they'll get the territory required to kick a winning score.
Mick.
So I think Brisbane could take them in a multi.
But we're back with Mick. Dankz Furniture.
We are, and the final game of the round we're taking a look at, Mart. West Coast taking on St Kilda at home here at Optus. Sunday afternoon, the Eagles $3.20. The Saints $1.35, 18.5 points to line. The total points 168.5, and potentially a bit of a danger game for the Saints here, Mick, to round out round 10.
Yeah, particularly with McGuane coming back into that team, he's likely to play. Oscar Allen should play. Is that the mail that I'm hearing?
I'd be more positive regarding Allen playing. I think they might be taking a more precautionary approach with McGuane, Marty. Is that what you've heard as well? We'll watch this space with teams about an hour away, but the impression I'm getting, Mick, is that maybe it might be another week before we see Jeremy McGuane back into the fold.
Okay, well, if he's out, I think St Kilda will win and win well.
Yep.
I just think he's the roadblock that the West Coast Eagles need in defence to curtail St Kilda's front half game, to force them probably wider than they'd naturally like to when they're entering forward 50. So I think St Kilda could justify the short odds, and they should be able to round out potentially a multi for those that like taking the short odds in this round. Okay,
that's our look at round 10 with Mick McGuane, courtesy of Dankz Furniture. Mick, did you have a multi or any stronger plays that our punters can follow you into over the weekend?
Yeah, I've gone down the path of having something on Hawthorn. I just think the discrepancy in the market's too great. Mm-hmm. So you can either take the points advantage that they can get or back them head-to-head or do both, and you might collect on both in that round. I think a multi might be Collingwood at the short odds into GWS, Western Bulldogs, Brisbane and St Kilda. That'll give you north of $4, 3-1 your money. I think those 5 teams deserve favouritism and they'll be all hard to beat.
Okay, there we go. So Hawthorn head-to-head or potentially even at the line with a 10.5-point head start. Then the multi is Collingwood, GWS, Western Bulldogs, St Kilda, all head-to-head, Marty, and that will get you $3.52 with Tab Touch. Beautifully done, Mick. Before we let you go, did we have any winners for our listeners tonight to build a little bank for the weekend at the trots over your way?
Kilmore trots tonight. Great track, Kilmore. I reckon there's a bit of value in race 3. Number 7, Crafty Old Fox, around the $7 or $8 mark. It's racing well, this horse, for Jeremy Quinlan. I hope he lights it up because I reckon it could cross them from out there, and from there it'll run a race. If he goes back, it's probably out of the conversation, unless they go mad up in front. But I think if it happens to spear to the front, it'll outrun its odds, so I'm prepared to back it on an each-way basis. Race 3, number 7. There's a horse in race 4 that's trialled really well. Obviously, the favourite, number 4, will be very hard to beat. The Chris Finozio stablemate, around $11, could represent good each-way value as well. That's my ultimate Luigi. It goes okay, this horse. Obviously, the favoured runner will get the huge part of the market share. In Sandsting, it'll probably run odds on. But my ultimate Luigi might be a little play each way if the favourite does something wrong in that particular race. And the bet of the night, I think, is in race 6. It just should win. Ringer Wells. Kate Gaff jumps back in the bike. I tipped it here a couple of weeks ago. It was disappointing. Just got it all wrong. Didn't trot well at all. But I'm expecting the great experience of Andy Gaff, Kate, to sit back in the sulky, I think, around that $2 mark. They bet $2.50 over here early this morning, and he'd have to trim up against the field it's in. So I wouldn't be surprised that it gets into the red, probably around the $1.70 mark based on race time.
Okay, there we have it. Race 3, number 7, a bit of value there. Crafty Old Fox at $7. Race 4, number 5, on debut, My Ultimate Luigi has trialled well at $11 to potentially run a race and maybe even knock off the stablemate, the $1.95 favourite. And race 6, number 4, Ringer Wells at $1.90. That was Mick McGuane, brought to us by Dankz Furniture, the comfort of home. Thanks very much, Mick. It's good to be back on the airwaves with you, and you enjoy this cracking round of football, which all kicks off tonight.
Good on you, Marty. Good on you, Rylie. Look after yourself, mate. Good to hear your voice again.
See you, Mick.
McGuane gets past Brown. They're lifting the pies. They can sense it. McGuane's had 5 bounces. Nearly get another one. Round he goes. In he goes to an open goal. Mickey McGuane. Goal of the year.
Mick McGuane joins us on Straight Up for this AFL preview thanks to Dankz Furniture.
You won't see better than that.
With 6 local stores in the metro area, there's one near you.
The Perth Racing Preview is where the Straight Up team finds you the winners at Belmont Park. All the fixed odds markets are from Tab Touch.
Oh, well, yes, you need to have all of the information coming your way for this meeting. And McGinty's back in the studio. G'day, mate. How are you?
Hi, Bart.
Looking well. The old band's back together.
Riles.
Bradley. God, you look well.
See, I'm up and about.
Marriage is certainly agreeing with you by the look of things. Yep.
Doesn't agree with everyone, but the man in front of me right now certainly does.
That is for sure. And don't forget, punters, get the text in 0427 789 571.
You've been doing
Do
some...
you like Tony Armstrong jumper on the show last night or not? That's the first question. 0427 789 571. You're thinking about it. You're going yes or no on the jumper?
I'm politely declining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a no from me, Mark.
$100.
$100.
Spend it any way you like.
Any way you like.
At the Mundaring Hotel. Butchie.
The heart of the hills.
Yongalas. Going to Yongalas Bar.
Just keep texting in the words Yongalas. You might go. You go straight to the top of the tree.
Well, we're back at Belmont Park where you do your best work.
Royal Belmont.
Yeah.
And did you know, Marty, that entry is free?
Is free. Yeah, no, we had some double passes to give away. Then I realised you can't give them away.
God, you're good.
But the weather's going to be similar to what it is today. I don't know if you've jerried to this, but it's very warm at York.
Yes, it is. It's going to be warm on Saturday.
So it'll suit horses up on the speed, do you think, with the rail at 2 metres? How would you rate it?
Oh, well, Mart, I'd normally assume on pace until the track tells me otherwise, but it should have nice, fresh, fair deck, surely.
What are you saying? It's going to be even?
Definitely be leaning towards the on paces at the 1,000-metre races, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, how about those statistics Scotty Embry dropped a little bit earlier today regarding the new shoot start last season at Belmont Park, Marty? 74% of winners settled in the first 4 in running over the 1,000 at Belmont Park, and 57% of winners drew barriers 1 to 4. So, especially over the short course from the shoot start, you do want to be finding runners that settle right over the speed.
Can we compare them to what the stats were with the old shoot?
Not that I have those in front of me.
Can you compare them?
We take into account small field sizes as well, which are quite often the case.
You can make stats sing.
But generally last season,
just 71.2% of people know that.
I think it's even higher now.
It was
since the election.
It was certainly very obvious to those that watched a lot of racing at Belmont Park last season that it was very hard to win if the horse you were on was settling in the back half over the short course,
or having to circle them.
Yeah, exactly right.
And the main event of the day, the final of the WA Provincial Championship. It's always a bookmaker's race, I reckon, isn't it?
I've been stung a few times.
Have you?
That's probably more my fault than the book's fault.
Let's go to the first, and don't forget we got the speed maps from martsmaps.com.
How's the merch coming along?
It's not far off. It just has to come in from USA, and it's just got held up at customs.
Tariffs.
Yeah.
Going the wrong way for them. Capitola's 440 into 370.
What did it open?
350 out to 440, 370. Perfect system. I was just from its highest point, 4 to 440, back to 390. So they're backing it as well. Silent Diva's 550 into $4. Has there been a scratching? No, there hasn't. Secret Diva is, I just said that. Brave Wasp, 676. Buckled, 650 to 8 to 750. Arctic Snows out to $15 from 11. Tora Bora, 13 out to 17. Berry Blast, 16 to 23. And Now You See Me is $71. I just realised that's not in numerical order.
Yeah, that'll get you every time.
Yeah.
Like the ESPs are pretty keen. Silent Diva. There's a couple of $1,000 placements at the $1.90 and the $1.75. There's some win bets too there for Silent Diva. 500, 300, 400 there. Capitola, 500 at the $4. Perfect Sister's getting some ESP money too. 600 there at the 440. Brave Wasp, certainly the money's starting to pile up there too. Nice betting race.
Winkers on Brave Wasp, I say. Sharpen it up for the drop back to 1,000, you think, Riles? Is that the idea?
Yeah, well, it was a bloody good run on debut by the Wasp. Couldn't have run much better, Mart. Held up until very late and really got home nicely over the concluding stages. Just from what we spoke about, potentially the fact that the horse is likely to get back in running from barrier 9 of 9 over the 1,000 metres might make his task a little bit more problematic, but it was a very promising debut behind Capitola, who drops back to the 1,000 metres from that same race, won that same race, and I do think that is going to suit the current favourite in the market. Very well placed, utilising Braden Garth's claim as well. I think he should be able to find the top. He'll get first look at the fence on Belmont opening day and will look to steal a march on them heading into the straight. I think he'll be hard to run down. Bradley Capitola, like the trial of Silent Diva on debut, Alabama Express filly, bred by Yulong for the Pike Williams combination, looked sharp in a recent trial win. Marty, again, just the map looks potentially a little bit sticky from where she's drawn, and just one to keep an eye on. We'll get to Perfect Sister as well, Brad, who drops out of the Karrakatta Plate back to the 1,000 metres. But just one I want to keep an eye on moving forward as well is Arctic Snow, who, while it was a very slow trial at Lark Hill, this is a horse that did things very nicely to the eye, and she's very well bred as well. So just one to keep an eye on Arctic Snow. But Perfect Sister, Brad, what are your thoughts on her 2 runs this campaign and the fact that she's out of the Karrakatta Plate, dropping back to the 1,000?
Well, yeah, that debut run was very impressive, and Karrakatta run was fine. The horse has to be respected. They are the form lines you want to be around. That is for sure. But I'm sort of siding with you a bit about the Capitola. If it gets to 450, that'll get me. I'd like to keep things nice and simple early. 1,000-metre race, good gate, horse straight to the front, and will give a good kick. It's 450 would get me involved there. There's a lot of talent in the race, a lot of nice horses going forward, but it's the one that ticks a few boxes.
She beat home a couple of pretty nice horses on debut over the 1,000 as well. Delta Sun and Statewide, while maybe not suited over the 5 furlongs. A couple of horses that have certainly got their fair share of ability.
Thought Capitola would lead Perfect Sister, and also up there should be Now You See Me. So it's sort of barriers there, isn't it? Barriers. Wayne Wilson, barriers 2, 3 and 5. I was taken by that trial of Silent Diva.
Good trial.
Fast on the day too compared to other trials.
That's smartsectionals.com.
We haven't sort of really got into that yet. Yeah, I'll get back in between the lanes, mate. Sorry about that. I just drifted out. I think I'll stay with Capitola. I did give it a good mention last start without tipping it and got the money.
You basically tipped it. You basically tipped it.
So I guess you could
Mark.
say that.
It was in the graphic. I saw it.
There's no graphics. Did they put a graphic up last week?
No, I don't think there's been a graphic for 2 decades. How's Purse, Peng? Have we heard from any Shorty? Have we heard from any of these?
The Mauler. The Mauler sent an early set of tips in, so we can get involved there. Datesy eating the dates off the calendar. Russell Collette selling homes. We won't hear from him.
He's moved on to greener pastures.
So you got a tip in the first?
No.
Thanks for sending that set of tips in last week too. They were very good.
They went very well.
The Mauler beat you, mate. He beat you.
He only needed one winner to beat me last week.
Tip 2.
I had one of those. Three. I'm telling you right now, Mart. Sometimes you know early.
Yeah.
It's not going to be your day when the first 3 horses you touch cannot walk.
Yeah.
That's when I knew it was going to be
They weren't just getting beaten.
No, they weren't just getting beaten.
It was a space job.
They were getting flogged. But
okay,
it's a great game.
The Perth Racing Preview is where the Straight Up team finds you the winners at Belmont Park. All the fixed odds markets are from Tab Touch.
Yes, that is for sure. There's a little bit of music just kicking off in the...
Bit of Calendar Girl.
Was it? Calendar? Could have been. That's a good guess. Let's go to race number 2, the free entry to Belmont Park, handicap over 1,000 and repossession. Like this horse, 343, 18 to 320. Earthstorm is 812, 850. KTY, 260, 230. Desert Whisper, 750. Allentown is 20, a drifter. Anabolistic, 8 to 950. 7 is Art Session, 31. 8 Famous Dream, just spect, 51 to 34 after opening at $16, and Rosé All Day out to $126.
Great betting race, Mart. Early they all wanted to be on Desert Whisper.
The Whisper.
Local pros got involved at the Whisper. At the 750, and they kept coming as well. Place bets there at the $2 and the $1.90. Those ESPs can have it against champions. They've also gone at the $6 and $7 ESPs. I'll make sure that starts shorter. Earthstorm ESP money place component 500 at the 280. Local pro keen repossession 700 at the 380. KTY bit of money there 800 at the 260. Cracking betting race.
Good betting race. What Famous Dream from 1 with Jade McNaught kicking up, and Desert Whisper cutting across with Braden Garth, and repossession. Could it kick through and lead them all up if it wanted to, or try and take a sit?
It looks fast enough too.
Gee, you'd think off that 400-metre jump out, he'd have the speed to lead if he wanted to.
If it's going to be mad on pace, just best horse to the front.
Yeah, this is a...
good race.
Good race.
It's a ripping race.
Yeah, really good race.
That's enough. I won't say anymore.
Yeah, interesting race in terms of the fact that you're going to have two high-speed horses that have plenty of ability right up there on pace over the 1,000 metres and the current favourite in the market, and a horse that just gives us a feel that he could be a potential black-type sprinter in waiting with what he's been able to do at this early stage of his career if he does continue to progress. KTY out the back, spotting them a massive start at a track where it can be very difficult to make ground over the 5 furlongs. So, yeah, this is a really tricky race from a betting perspective for mine, Bradley. I've got massive respect for what KTY has been able to do. It was a really soft win, albeit up against lesser opposition last start from barrier 1. Was able to just find that little suck ping run through and put them away very easily. 3-year-old handicap, so actually drops in the weights here. But, there's that added element of repossession, who is a horse I agree with you, Marty. I really like. Placid Arc Prelude winner, 400-metre jump out. It almost broke 23 seconds. He was flying in that jump out and could probably be considered a touch unlucky not to have won that 3-year-old classic last campaign, first up as well. It's just obviously 60 kilos first up, 6-month layoff. Not always a big factor over the 1,000 metres the weight, but gee, you'd have to have him in writing your calculations as well if he's anything up to how he raced last prep.
Not much to add here, Martin. Prices are about where I sort of think they should be, and nothing's screaming bet, but it's a really intriguing race. I love the fact that there's even money for horses like Anabalistic, which I haven't mentioned, but money for 4 or 5 horses, you like to see that. It's an intriguing race.
Looking forward to seeing what Earthstorm can do this campaign as well. I think she's a talented filly. I think she'll find the 1,000 a bit short first up with the 59.5, but I think she's a nice horse who may continue to progress as well.
Nothing in the book?
No, nothing in the book for me.
Pakenham Race 3, clear these up and just black book this, punters. Follow this through. It's Korea 46814 Biologics. I've just watched a replay. Wow. Jordan Childs 251.50. Drew wide. He had to strangle it to get it back to last. 4 deep all the way with cover and just 2 hits down the flank and dropped him. Marith 540 was a nice run too. Queens of Vino $1.80. Susie Spritz for 50.50. The Quinella Exacta 77.50. The trifecta 355.10. First 4 468.14. 2,673.90. 5 and 4 the double 83.67. 9, 10 and 12 out. York race number 6, and then we're going to hit that text line for a $100 voucher at the Mundaring Hotel. 1 Willpower is 14 into 8.50. 2 Jack in the Black 31 to 26. 3 Desert Sleeve is $4. 4 Lucky Heart 11. 5 is Obsentino 71. 6 Parish Prince $3. 7 Delta Ann is 11 a drifter. 8 Norman Stars $4.40. Lakeview Lightning is 12, and down the bottom Fair Delicious at 61.
Couple of people singing your praises, Mart, on the Retrovision text line. Apparently you tipped Kelvinator last week.
No, I can't claim that.
Oh, well,
no, I'd set it at lead.
Well, Terry's followed you in. He took the early price and he's had a fill-up, so Terry's given you the thumbs up, Mart.
Thanks, Terry.
Gold star and a sling from Tab Touch to Mr. McGinnity on his awesome summation on Awesome Boy last Saturday. Made the bookies a squillion, I'm sure, as it was heavily backed from opening to race start. So a little tip of the hat there to our man Bradley. Afternoon, guys. Really excited for sheergoldsectionals.com shirts to arrive to go with my Mars map sign. Wondering your thoughts on repossession first up off a 400-metre trial. That's Zach of Burswood, and we've just given those, is that he's absolutely in it up to his eyeballs, I think fair to say.
Yep,
repossession,
definitely.
Very nice horse. And Craig L. Desert Whisper jumps off the page for me and ticks a lot of boxes at a decent price. Have not had anything on it as of yet, as I'm just waiting to see if Riley tips it, because if he does, I'll look elsewhere.
Look,
cheers, Greg.
Greg, everyone's had a bad decade, mate, so don't worry. Just stick with him.
And we'll leave Duppy's got involved as well. He's got in touch. We'll leave Duppy's until after race 3. We'll
right,
get stuck in.
Let's get into this before York. The Lawn Pride Australia handicap over 1,000 metres and 1 a Keep It a Mystery. 6 into 420. 2 Richenko 370, 380, then 290. Sunny Honey 21, 31, 26. 4 Sebenak now over here, and gelded $14.21. 5 Another Strike 9, $14. 6 Art of Sabrage, $26.21. 7 Prospectors Pick, $2.40 strong, and Regal Salute, $17.16 after opening at $10.
Prospectors Pick,
The pick.
Oh, Mad Dog Morgan's got a little glint in his eye.
The glint.
Friendless at this stage in punting. It's fair to say Rich & Co, these ESP, they are very keen, very keen. 900 there at the 380, at the 360, and 1,000 at the 340. Keep it a mystery. Local Sharpies pretty keen early. 400 at the 6, 600 at the 440. That'd be the two, Rich & Co and Keep It a Mystery.
Does the pick lead?
I'm interested, Marty. That's probably the most fascinating aspect of this race, as it has been well documented that the Pierces have always been trying to get Rich & Co to take a sit and settle in his races. He led by default in his victory first up, and it's whether they're happy to go to the front with him again or whether they attempt to let Prospectors Pick lead from barrier 1, given they know that he's a naturally fast horse as well. So who leads is going to be interesting. Brad, I tend to think that if you jump well and you put yourself there, particularly over the 1,000 metres at Belmont Park, it's never a bad spot to be on a horse who has won leading previously, to be out there in front rolling along.
Yep. Yeah, I concur. What about the platinum package of marchmaps.com?
Well, I think the danger is a stablemate, Art of Sabrage, could kick across from 7, so you can work that out, the Simon Miller horses. But I think from 1, as long as it jumps from 1, Prospectors Pick can muster and lead, and if it leads, it's going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to beat. Has been a month between runs waiting for the right race. It was a really nice win on return. We've seen 3 subsequent winners in behind him on that day, and a dual minor place getter in Saturday Company as well. So it's form that has held up. I do understand we are 60 seconds off at York as well. I think he's going to get a lovely run, all things considered, from that inside draw, and do think he'll be hard to beat, but it is a step up. He was able to run down on the full first up. Now he might have to run down Rich & Co, who I think is a nicer horse and a horse with more ability than on the full, who won pretty well first up over the 1,000 metres. But if you do like Rich & Co, you have to make a case for Keep It a Mystery, who was only a length behind him at the finish and gets 3.5 kilos on him for that beaten margin. So you have to be respecting of Luke Fernie's runner, I think, as well, if you are looking the other way around the favourite.
So we just want to finish up. I'm sure you had a little bit more to add on this third event at Belmont Park with the very well-owned Prospectors Pick at $2.40.
Yeah, I would just suggest to those punters that are maybe a little bit hesitant that he has been a month between runs from that very impressive first up win. That's nothing to be concerned about. Just been waiting for the right race.
Okay.
Keep It a Mystery is flying. No doubt about it. I think they've unlocked this horse by sort of settling at midfield or worse. It's just putting in some enormous flashing runs, but it's hard to go past Prospectors Pick. You'd be thinking you should almost just lead and win, just lead, control it, and I think Rich and Colby won't want to be pouring the pressure on, so I don't see the point in handing up to Rich and Co. So
I still think
lead and win rolls.
I still think Rich and Co is a horse that is going to be better over 1,200 metres, and potentially even once he gets out over a bit further as well. Like, he's a free rolling type, and once you can sort of, the type of horse that he is, can land over the speed, has that high cruising speed, can break them open and really kick away. I think he's a horse that is going to be a bit better suited over a little bit further in time as well. Just one horse to quickly touch on. I thought Regal Statues, well, 2 horses actually. Regal Statues' recent trial was very good. I think she'll be winning races this campaign. Not sure it's here, but Sebenak has his first run in WA for the
Always like this horse.
Once upon a time, Group 3 winner as a 2-year-old at Caulfield, was beaten a length in a Group 1 Blue Diamond, and you go back to late 2023, was a pretty dynamic winner. First up over the 1,000 at Randwick, was 62 kilos on his back, and he's got form around horses like Weight of the Stars, Sharippa, Ray Magnerio when he was racing at his best, Marty, but we haven't obviously seen his best for a long while, and his trials have just been okay. But if they can fire him up, he's going to prove to be a very handy acquisition for the team, I think.
Yeah, for the Ganjami boys. I'm not sure when he was gelded. I know he was the colt till at least 3, so I don't know if they've gelded him or he was gelded before he come across, but I always thought that that'd be a secret to getting him to race more consistently, the son of capitalist. Let's clear up those dividends at York, and they are interim on 8964. Norma Stars, Jason Whiting, 570 and $1.09. Look at Lockie doing his best there. My God, he's a strikingly good-looking young man, isn't he? Lockview Lightning is $2.80. Parish Prince, $1.20. The Quinella 1980 exacta 45.30. Trifecta 158.40. The first 4 8964 908 even. 4 and 8 the double $25.80. Pakenham race number 4. We've got 7.5 off here over the 3-year-old fillies out of the chute. The 1100. 2 Edwina Queen is 8. Number 3 Entertaining Eyes 151. 4 Glamour Anna 750. 5 Graceful Warrior is 9. 6 Hot Chips 23. Number 7, Illivi at 10 into 360. 10 into 360. Ethan Brown, he needs to ride one for the punters. Media Brief is 26, and the favourite is Tuscaloosa Gem, $2.15 into $1.90, Riles. We got anything else on that Retrovision text line?
Yeah, Duppy's text in. We better get to Duppy's text. He said he caught up with the pommy pie and the dirty bugger still had cream on his lips from the pie's absolute fill-up last week. He can only assume that Rusty's been dropped due to his feud with McGinnity and calling him names like the trombone. Mart's Maps merch has been spotted already as well. He said, the bloke at the Canning Bridge lights washed my windows in a Mart's Maps beanie and it looked very nice. So.
I know that fella. He's a good lad. He's just on hard times at the moment, that's all.
Well, you were nice enough to...
Give him a
beatie on the way through.
4:07, quick break. Then we're back for race number 4, the Tab Touch. Have you got the touch handy?
The Perth Racing Preview is where the Straight Up team finds you the winners at Belmont Park. All the fixed odds markets are from Tab Touch.
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. And race number 4, the Tab Touch. Have you got the touch handicap, 2,100 metres? And let's have a look at the board here. 2,100 Henchard, 850, 950, 850. Audio Boy is 550 to 440. Good backing, Famous Dane. Geez, it won well down in Albany. 380 into 215. Dutchie's Demerit Dutchie, $20. Kegs later, 5 out to 8. 6 Behara, $4 out to 750. 7 Beautiful Baroque, 31. Number 8, Admired, 101. Number 9, Expelorama, 17. And number 10, Canellan's Legacy is $61.
Expected more of a meerkat there from you.
Oh, it's...
Art? Famous Dane?
It's a winner. Come on, stop it. It's $1.85 with some corporate, you know.
$1.85.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
You're probably betting the best price in Australia here.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the
action.
Truckloads of money for it first. Oh, where did it start at the top price? 700 at the 380. What have we got there? 800 at the 350. It kept coming. The markets merged. The SPs went, 265. That'll still do. 1,300 at the 265. 1,000 at the 260 into 215. Someone said I'd take that champion. 1,800 at the 215. Famous Dane, they're queuing up.
Whoa.
1,100 places. Audio Boy at $1.75. Henchard, 500 places at the 260. And that'll be about it, Ross.
Yeah, jeepers. It's a lot of money. Very keen to be with Famous Dane. He was very dominant last start at Albany, but in saying that, it was a pretty legless field that he put away. Certainly a field not up to the standard of opposition that he meets here on the weekend. Brad, he does opt for Pike in saying he opts for Famous Dane over Audio Boy, who he also rode last start. He should be able to hold a nice enough spot from the draw with our favourite here, who, Yeah, probably has a little bit more upside as a staying type than most of these as well. Being a 4-year-old gelding now, only had the 15 career starts and really hasn't been tested over these staying trips in his career just yet fully, and he's probably at that stage now where this will be his go moving forward. So I can see why he should be favoured in this race, but the price is very skinny at $2.15. Of the horses that are currently in single figures at the moment that maybe look a bit of value, I think Henchard looks a nice enough each way price at the $8.50 and $2.30. Backs up out of last weekend, never saw daylight behind Zaza Rock. Looked to travel into that race very well. I thought he could push forward to lead this or land in the box seat, and this is a step back in grade despite the rise up to the 60 kilos, and he's proven to carry weight quite well previously. Henchard, I think he's getting closer to a win, Brad, and yeah, I think you might be keen on one at a similar sort of price at the moment in Behara, getting out to a nice each way quote as well.
Mart?
Well, you'd have to pay for the platinum to get a speed map out of this one. It's
Right.
a very tight one, so we'll just let this one go to the platinum membership.
It is sticky. We've got Famous Dane, you've got Henchard, you've got maybe Audio Boy, maybe Expelliarmus out wide there. Not sure anyone's going to take it by the scruff of the throat, Rolls. Maybe Henchard?
Thought maybe Henchard might lead.
It's a maybe race, yeah.
Thought they might try lead on Behara.
I think there'll be. I'm pretty keen Behara.
Yep.
It's won on good tempos and it sprinted really well off a mild tempo last start. It's brought its form to town. It is double figures around the traps each way, which, in my opinion, is a bet to nothing. I think that's a great bet in this race because I had it. Well, I mean, you only have to look at last start's replay to say it was as good, if not better, than Audio Boy.
Correct.
And Famous Dane, there's got to be a query over at Staying. There's got to be a query over that was just an Albany soft. It did win very well. I think I had it favourite. I think most people sort of had it favourite, but do you want to step in at evens?
Jumped to $1.70
plus GST in this field, which is a fair bit stronger. You can even make a case for Kegs later. It seems a stay that's really put it all together and going quite well, but Behara each way for me. Mart?
Look, I'm out of this, but I will say on breeding, this is bred to definitely stay Famous Dane. Seamus Award out of a Quest for Fame mare, so you would imagine it's going to stay as long as the mother-in-law. So
there you go.
If you want to go on breeding, and one of the best in the business, Neville Duncan from Oakland Park, starters bred it.
Cha-ching.
So
we may notice an upswing. We may notice an upswing in Oakland Park mentions. I'm just throwing
what we
it out
need
there.
a mention for is the Mundaring and Butch and the team there. It's magnificent. They're giving away a $100 voucher for the best texter. We've got 30 seconds before we go to Packen, and we got one?
Yeah, we might have one. This is from Lionel. Lionel from York.
Lionel of York.
Does taking your mouth guard help you kick straighter? Just curious.
I wouldn't know because I never got a kick when I played football. So,
or had a mouth guard.
Yeah.
We move on now to race number 5, which is the Mrs. Max Handicap. This is over the 1,600 metres on Saturday. Time to go at 2:34. And one Classic Rogue is 5 out to 7. 2 Trio, 290, 330, 320. 3 Let's Deal, 16 to 26. 4 Rudja, 51. 5 Western Power, 290, 230. 6 Bondi Plunge, 758 into 650. Lover Session, 18. Macchiato, 21. And Planet Cash. Just a little bit of specking, 41 into $20.
Yeah, that's the ASPs, Mart, each way.
Well, you got to watch them.
Yeah, I get that. That's some chance of a sneaky lead and getting away with a bit. Western Power, local and ESPs. Pretty keen Western Power. We've got 1,200 at the 290, 1,200 at the 275. Classic Rogue, 250 each way at the 550. Bondi Plunge, ESP's pretty keen each way, 300 by 800. And another 300 each way there. That's about it, Ross.
Yeah, we were pretty keen on the favourite 3 starts ago, and I've been against him in his last couple, but I'm hoping that I might be hopping back on the bus at the right time with Western Power. The price has gone off a bit, fair to say, from this morning, but I'd love to see Lucy Fury come out and just try and own this race with him. It's a race with no speed at all. Before I continue, Mark, what about we head to our .com?
I just think Brad Parnham will go forward on Bondi Plunge from out in 8. Western Power to go across with him. And a bit of Planet Cash action from 1.
It's bereft, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah. I just thought, obviously Bondi Plunge could be the horse that rolls forward and follows him across as well, but I just thought Lucy Fury could come out positive, find the front from there, could really dictate terms with the other horse that is currently hard in the market, likely out the back, drawn widest as well. He gets 1.5 kilos on Trio for a 1/10 of a length defeat 2 starts ago. Then I thought he was really good last weekend at 1,400 metres. He led up the 3 wide line, was only beaten a length behind Siberian Siren after doing things pretty tough as well. So as we know, he's on the back up this week, and even if something unexpected does kick up underneath him, I'd still be happy with a spot either in the breeze or in the first 3 in running, Brad. And the price is a bit short at the moment at $2.30. It has gone off at this stage, but I did think it looked a really suitable setup for Western Power given the lack of speed in the race. The main danger for me I had was Classic Rogue, who has just resumed, has not taken a backward step at Rising 8. This horse, his 2 runs this campaign have been terrific, and now steps straight up to the mile. Does have the 60 kilos, stepping up 400 metres in distance, which is quite a jump at an early stage of his campaign, given he is a horse that can continue to race quite deep into his prep. But the way he's returned, there's more wins in store for this horse.
Yeah, and if you maybe you could look at a little tactics change if you owned a resuming stayer that might be able to pitch one, but we don't have any owners in the room of Let's Deal, so
no,
maybe not.
No, very happy where I'm positioned at the moment.
I'm sure the current owners are as well.
Yeah.
Sure, they're very happy.
I've noticed too, is Gardner still listed as an owner in there? I see there in his colours, but I couldn't see him in the ownership. Anyway,
maybe he's followed you out the door.
He could have. Anyway, we won't get into that. Yep.
Were you going to move on to the next race, or were you just wrapping up here? Continue then?
Yeah. No, I was going to go to Pakenham Race 4 Divs, but no, let's wrap the race up.
Just one other that I'm going to give a push to as being an improver, Macchiato with Stevie Parnham back on board, drawn to stay off the fence, getting back to Belmont Park. I think he's a horse that can win more races now that he's back onto a much more suitable, bigger track of Belmont as well. So 1 at odds to keep an eye on, but Western Power for me, and the first horse I'm happy to put in the book on the program, Mark. We start to get a bit busy late in the day.
Okay, we're surging late. Pakenham Race 4, interims 9746. Tuscaloosa Gem, Jordan Childs, $200 4. Beats Illy Ivy at $1.60. Glamorana 180. Hot Chips 4. 320 Quinella $5 exacta. 1670 the trifecta. The first 4 was 77.10, 4 and 9 the double 540. Quaddy 4549, 1,208.40 with number 1 out. So we're 5 minutes off York race number 7. We've looked at that board. Let's push on now and have a look at our next event, which will be race number 6, which is the first leg of the Quaddy. The Ascend Trophies handicap over the 1,200 metres, and at number 1 is Zing to Win. $31. 2 Sky Duke, $8.59 into 7. 3 Lost Gravity, 19 into 13. Close Talker, $4.65.50. 5 Catch Carter, $3.20 to $2.75. 6 King of Feed is $8.50 out to 12. 7 First Beach, 14 out to 15, then into 13. 8 Katona's 51. Number 9, Miss Rockjoy is 41, and down the bottom, American Escape, 384.40 into 370.
Someone recently very keen American Escape, Mart, at 2,000 at the 4, 2,000 at the 4, the 8,000 at the 4, 8,000 at the 380 and another 8,000 at the 370 American Escape. That is called wagering. Catch Carter, local pro money 900 at the 320 Sky Duke. The ESPs are keen each way. No money yet for First Biatch or King Akeed. And the others are all friendless too.
Yeah, 3-year-olds look well placed. How did you see this one playing out? Dots.com.
Yeah, I'm a Sky Duke leading. Catch Carter kicking up. Geez, her stable's going well. I know everyone's saying it, but I'm joining in. Maybe a little bit of American Escape from 4 getting into a good position behind it, but I think Sky Duke has to lead, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Does look.
It looks comfortable when it leads in front of it.
Unbeaten over the Belmont 1200 Sky Duke. So loves getting back to Belmont Park. That's not going to worry him. I do love the profile of the 3-year-olds up against the older horses, particularly 3-year-olds that have ability. I was pretty taken by Catch Carter's run, first up, no trial, over the 1,000 metres in 3-year-old company behind KTY. I thought once he was able to get clear and balance up, he was just massive over the concluding stages. Takes on the older horses here, drops 3 kilos off his back and gets out to 1,200 metres, which should really suit him, the manner in which he finished off as well. My only slight concern being, if he does end up 3 back the fence and isn't able to kick up, as you suggested, Marty, and hold the back of the speed, then it could get a little bit sticky for Lakdar. But I do think with even luck and clear galloping room when he needs it, he's going to prove very hard to beat. Off his first up run, Catch Carter would love some $3 plus action, so we'll just hold fire for now and hope that there's some more money, Brad, for American Escape, who I am terrified of. Looks a really progressive filly. She was huge when wide, very wide, in a fast run Magic Millions 3-year-old trophy. Pretty dominant in a recent trial, albeit wasn't trialling against anything of note. Lucion, great map from Barrier 4, plenty of upside with her, but just want to see her do it in this sort of company first, Brad. You go back and look at the fields she beat prior to that Magic Millions win, the maiden win, and then the Class 1 win, and there hasn't been anything from those 2 fields go on with it since. So she was able to put away 2 very weak fields and then run well in a Magic Millions. I'd just like to see her progress and do it again in this sort of company, but huge respect to her as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to watching the race. Pretty confused by a couple and expecting improvement from First Beach. Love the trial, a bit green, but love the trial of King Akeed. I think there's some ability there, might get me each way. American Escape, there's definitely something there. I think Santanova owners might argue with you about the quality of the form.
Yeah,
there
true.
may be a couple listening too. That might get stuck into you very shortly, Ross.
Santanova still needs to do it, doesn't she, as well?
Ran well in town one Saturday, I think. Yeah, I'm with you. I want to back Catch Carter, but the money's there ready to say that I'm not going to get the price I want. So,
Next line is open. We'll take one before we pay a few bills here on Straight Up.
It is open. The Retrovision text line 0427 789 571. A big thank you to McGinnity, the spruiker, for his awesome work last week with Awesome Boy, and to the punters that followed him in. That's from Rusty the trombone, thanking you for paying for his new house. Couple of footy questions, Mart. I think we might leave those until
later.
We get rid of
but they can still qualify for the...
They can still qualify, absolutely, because that's what we will base the most of our discussion off over the final hour or so here on the Retrovision text line or on Straight Up. And, yeah, for now we might just park the text line for a bit because all of these questions coming through are footy-related.
Right, we'll take a break.
We've got plenty to come through, plenty to get through.
You bet. Yes, welcome back, and it is 28 minutes away from 5 o'clock. Now, Brad Hardy will be coming up early because he's got commitments after 5 o'clock. He'll be broadcasting live, I think, for 3AW over there. So we'll get to Brad at about 10 minutes away from 5 o'clock for his look at this big clash tonight between the Suns and also Hawthorn. I'll just run a check over the latest betting, and it has not moved since we spoke about it with Mick. $1.54 and $2.45 Hawthorn, 10.5 and the total match at this stage is 183.5. No late changes at this stage. Riles might have a quick look at that and make sure that I haven't missed one on the way through as we have a look at race number 7, second leg of the quad that used to be sponsored by Barbaros. The Tab Touch West Speed Platinum Autumn Series Heat 3 over the 1300. One Snippy Witch is $14 and 11, 15, 14. 2 Storm Commander, 101 into 34. 3 Hammer Mill, a good tip last start from the boys, $6. 4 Why Me, 12. 5 Major Mario, 15 into 12. Number 6 Valderina, 20 into 19. 7 Bohemian Diamond is 245 to 230. Number 8 Universal Hotness in those beautiful Dockers colours, 31 into 20. Wonder if he wants to change him. 9 is Zach Loves to Fly is 71. 10 Royal Gap is 26. 11 Cheryl Shout is 20 from 41. 12 Enchanting Sound is 34. And 13 Ocean Goddess, 8 into $6.
Mushroom Lady update on the news behind you, Mark.
Yeah, I know.
I know you're interested.
I know.
You told
One
me
of
to
the jurors. I was over there last Tuesday. They flew me across. I did my bit.
The documentary will be anything.
I think the movie's going to be better.
Oh.
Roseanne Barr.
Major Mario, the ESPs are keen each way. And also Ocean Goddess each way. Plenty of money there. They're the two that the ESPs are circling, as well as Universal Hotness. But the real money is for Bohemian Diamond. Local Pro, 1,500 at the 240. Plenty of $300, $400 and $500 bets, Bohemian Diamond. The move probably doesn't speak enough for how much money there's been sort of nationally, Mark, because there were some bigger prices that are available, Bohemian Diamond, and they've all been snipped away. This might start pretty short.
Wow.
Yeah. What did you think about the map here, Mark?
Just getting the map up. I've been working very hard on the phone. Here we go. The map. Universal Hotness coming across from 13 in the Dockers colours. Cheryl Shout, and it'll kick up from 4 for Mackie Hall. And Zach Loves to Fly. I've got it coming across with Universal Hotness from out wide. Maybe No, that'll do. Yeah, that'll do.
You've been looking at my nose.
No, you agree?
It's very good, Mark.
Yep.
You are just on fire.
If you haven't paid up for the platinum service, you should be.
Yep.
There's a few spare dollars lying around.
Yeah, in the ashtray.
Help out a good cause. Anyway.
All goes to charity.
It depends what you define charity as.
Is that what her name is, Mark?
I've got to pay her somehow.
Yeah, look, I think Bohemian Diamond's a really nice mare. I've been a big fan of her for a while. Couldn't have been a lot more impressive with her 2 wins last campaign. Pulled up with genuine excuses post-race in her most recent run. When she started favourite in a Saturday West Speed contest, she was lame on that occasion, so there were excuses for her disappointing performance there, but she's still very lightly raced. She's a 4-year-old mare now. She trolled up super in a pretty strong heat as well, a number of horses in behind her in that pretty dominant trial performance, who I think will be winning more races in their respective careers. And I just love the map. It looks a really good setup. Brad Parnham rides, great draw to hold spot with cover. I think she's got more ability than her opposition here, and I doubt being on the fresh side will be any worry for her. I do think the market has got this pretty bang on. I think Hammer Mill's the main danger. She's in terrific form. Merrill's horses are flying, but she always needs a bit of luck with her racing pattern, particularly from Barrier 1. And I was really disappointed with Ocean Goddess last start. I was pretty keen on her at the price and thought she had every chance, and Hammer Mill ran past her and was holding her pretty comfortably on the line.
Yeah, I think the only real sort of danger you can see to Bohemian Diamond, if the Bohemian Diamond turns up the best of what it showed last prep, would be maybe Snippy Witch getting back to its best. But it was pretty ordinary last start, but you can always forgive one. So, but yeah, Bohemian Diamond does look the one to me as well, Mark. Okay,
we'll squeeze this next event in, I think, before Pakenham.
Jeepers, you're cutting it fine.
Are we? How long's Pakenham?
We've got a minute and a half.
Oh, we won't squeeze that in.
we got a capacity field.
So We won't even try. We'll look at Pakenham Race 5, Sioux Spirit, 370 to 440. 2, Faith in Hers, 550 to 950. It's all about timing, and mine's a bit out today. 8 to 11 is Libica. Calabria Bella is $9. Shy Lee is 8 to 8. 310, 480, 310 is Bedtime Angel, and Imminent 650 to 550. We got a quick one off that Retrovision text line at all?
Jeez, the phone keeps
And that is, of
up.
course, for the Mundaring Hotel for Butch O'Connor and the team out there.
Thank you, Mard, for your tip at Just to Fly. Did you tip the card last week?
I just put one in, one for the day, Just to Fly.
I must have left that one out of the graphic.
And Kelvinator.
I didn't. Well, it was a yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll give it
I'll
to
take
you.
it.
Yeah, I'll allow it. Hi, boys. Marty. I've been having a bit of success with the insurance second or third, the old concession with the bookies. It doesn't seem to be offered on all thoroughbred meetings across Australia, e.g. the Sunshine Coast on the Sundays. Would you have any ideas why, or could investigate and tell us tomorrow after 4 p.m? That's Brian from Carina.
Okay, Brian, you've given me some homework. I'll look that one up.
You were very quick to knock Locke on
I know,
Sunday for not getting
that's
his
fair
homework
enough.
done.
Yeah,
so
fair enough, yeah.
You've got some homework to do.
Yes. Do you
Tim
know it all?
Young. Wasn't always your strong point in school, from what I'm hearing.
I used to pay someone to do it for me. So we are up to race number 8. This is the big one on Saturday. Just got to get it all back into place here. So just hold on, punters. Time to go at 4:15 over the 1,400 metres. Big field. What are your thoughts on the Provincial Championship Series final? Are you a great proponent of it?
Oh, time-honoured.
Absolutely.
Year after year.
We all get excited.
Love it.
What you could do is maybe bet on regions. You know?
State of origin type.
Yeah. Yeah, build up a bit of interest, like Goldfields, Geraldton.
State of origin betting
Albany.
in the final. I don't mind it.
Can you
Mark.
do it, or we'd have to?
It's probably not in the regs. It might be. We can.
Okay.
Would you punt in it, Mart? Would you get involved?
I'd get involved, yeah. That's the sort of bet I'd like. One Snazzler.
Very Goldfield-centric.
Yeah,
Mark.
I'd be on the Goldies. Who has been winning them over the years? Have you got that sort of mental recollection?
No.
Don't look at me. Oh, Cobb might text one through if he's listening.
Oh, I just remember I backed one of Peter Fernie's. It was either last year or the year before, which was perennial.
Is that
get
Ablo
back.
or something?
Ablo.
Yeah.
Just got rolled, I think.
Did Albany? I think Albany won it last year.
Yeah, so I backed Ablo and
Did Roy win it last year?
Roy could have won it.
Yeah, maybe, but
Sacred Oath, maybe?
He's broom now, isn't he? He doesn't qualify.
Ablo was a sickening watch, I remember, one of them. Would have been maybe 2 years ago.
Number 1 is Snazzler, 31. 2 Platinum Shot, 420. No movement. 3 Camera Action, $6. 4 Belter of a Song, 17. 5 Speed Bubble, 23. 6 Looks, 23. There's hardly any movement here. 7 Uncle Gerard,
Wait.
26 to 21. 8 Top of the Pops, 31 Spect. 9 Defiant Diorite, it's 34 Spect. 10 First Law, 31. 11 Like No Other, 31. 12 Pro is here, 81. 13 Psycho Sister, 950 into 8 after opening at 7. Secret Attire is 15 to 17. 15 Top Fun, 31. 16 Treble Maker, $5 into 340. And the Emergencies Vomo Island, 11. And Ton of Grunt at 19.
Was it worth the wait, Mart?
I thought it could have been better. 5 to 340.
Been an avalanche. A couple of thousand there at the 440. A couple more thousand at the 440.
Ingles.
1,000 at the 440.
Ingles.
1,000 at the 390. Treble Maker. Ton of Grunt. A bit of each way money. ESPs didn't mind the 950 Psycho Sister. I get that. Belter of a Song. 300 each way at the $17. Ross.
Yeah, we're following our man in once again in the same colours, Mars.
Yep. The Ablo colours.
Yeah, the Ablo colours with our favourite treble maker, who is a horse from early days when she raced as a 2-year-old, was one I always thought would make the grade. She ran some really good races early in her career. they've clearly had some issues with her along the journey, given she was spelled for 473 days before resuming this prep. But she trialled super. She was huge on return behind Expo Rose on a hot on-speed day at Pinjarra. We saw Expo Rose win again a little bit earlier today at York, and that race has produced 4 subsequent winners from it since, before heading up to Kalgoorlie for a couple of kills. And I thought the most recent win, gunning down Sure Thing with the apprentice in the saddle pretty softly as well, was very impressive, given Sure Thing's been a horse who's been really dominating and smashing the clocks on the country circuit as well. I think she gets Lucy Fury on board on the weekend. Love the draw to hold a spot midfield or just better, and gets in on the minimum as well with just the 54 kilos on her back. I thought she was a horse with Saturday level ability from the outset, Brad, and I think she looks primed to take this out with the setup, and I do think the market has this pretty bang on. The 2 or the 3 key dangers are all the other 3 horses in single figures.
Now, in a race like this, Rolls, surely you pay up for the platinum package.
Oh, yeah. But we're going to give it away free. This is just a little hook to the punters. I'm going with Joe as a party to bounce out Looks from barrier 8. Speed across. I think coming across with him will be Belter of a Song, your horse. And I want to see Pro is here kicking up with Chloe at big odds. Jonathan Jackman. And
Psycho Sister?
I thought Psycho Sister would lead.
Psycho Sister. Geez, I'll never forget the day in Kalgoorlie when I had a small fortune on it. And it went bucking out of the barriers. At least you knew your fate early.
Didn't it win next start at a huge price?
Yeah, it did, yeah. I was at the Broken Hill.
Bolted in at 26 to 1.
Yeah, I told Mauler to back it. He went and backed it, and nothing for Mart.
Mart got distracted.
Well, Psycho from 12 then can come across with Belter if you like that. If you like that setup.
If Vomo Island does get a start, that might have something to say with the speed battle as well. From the widest shoot.
Yep, I agree with all of the above. Not entirely sure Belter of a Song has the speed to hold up with the other aforementioned horses there.
Yeah, we've learnt not to question the platinum package.
Yeah,
he just gets it right.
I'll hover on the exterior for
Over.
now, just with the Belter of a Song map placement. But so I'm pretty keen on Troublemaker. I think you have to respect Platinum Shot despite the draw. Stretch the neck of Madame Magic. Last start, Graduation Company. Camera Action won a Graduation 60 plus 2 starts ago, then was grabbed late by Manhattan Strip at Northam last start. I'm just a bit of a concern, the gate, and also obviously you lose the senior jockey as well. A couple of pretty good senior jockeys have been on board at her last 2 as well. And Psycho Sister is an interesting runner. Brad just showed a dazzling speed from the widest gate first up in that provincial heat at Pinjarra, only faded over the concluding stages, but I do think there's going to be some pressure, and that 1,400 metres as a result of that might just stretch her with the work she may have to do early if she does want to get across.
Yeah.
It's a ripping race.
It is, but it's confusing me.
Yeah.
Try to look for something out wide that might be able to sneak into Novs, a horse like maybe a Top Fun or maybe a First Law, a couple that are sort of going okay, could run a race, but it's confused me. Speed Bubble's going along quite nicely. I'm just throwing out. I can't step exactly. I'm just throwing out horses that might fill your hole for Novs, Mart, but otherwise,
the one at a big price, I think, is over the odds at the moment is Belter of a Song. I actually thought she was really good first up. It was a race where the leaders crept away from them with Psycho Sister and Ukai going head-to-head at the front of the field. She hit a little flat spot rounding for home, but I thought she got really warm late and got through the line really nicely over the concluding stages. And with that run under the belt, up to 1,400 metres, if she can find a spot in that 3 wide, 4 wide line, getting a track into the race, I think she's one that can make her presence felt at a pretty big price, $5 the drum. That looks a bit of value.
Yeah. So nothing from you. No, too hard. It's a good bookies race. You just got to lay them all. And
I think Treble Maker is one of the better bets on the program.
well, there you go.
Bet price rolls?
Now, happy, 350, 340. Yep.
Kit Logistics handicaps the last race number 9, 1400. Hope you're right, because they're the right team. Ingalls and Pete. Speed Dream, 15, 13. Madame Magic, they're all on this last start, 8, 10 and 9.50. Category 3, Good in Cal, 9, 13, 12. Same colours, Eddie Rigg, Sir Eddie, dug another hole. I'd venture to say he's never dug one in his life, 8.59 to 8.50. 5, D'Amber is 7.50. Not Secret, the Tomato Floggers up in Kalgoorlie, 26 to 21. Blue Rocket, has this just been sold, Blue Rocket, 19 into 11?
I think so.
On the Inglis, that last one.
Yeah, I think so.
What did they get for it?
I think 90-ish.
Correct
My
choice.
sources are correct.
Neville's had half at the 19s, half the sale price.
Back to 5.50. Mama Tambu, 51 to 26. Heskett, 51.41. 11 ton of Grunt, 31.26. Now 12 Black Aura. This is the interesting runner. 6, 460. Where there's smoke, 13 Forever Boys, 19, 14 Lane Hathan, 41, and 15 Mosquitoes, 34.
Blue Rocket sold for 90,000.
90.
It's an AB Bloodstock. Congratulations, Alan
Sold.
Potter, on your purchase.
Beat me to it.
It's a cheap gag, wasn't it, Ross?
Yeah, very.
I'm a Tembo. Ooh, what do we got here? 500 each way at the 50s, if you don't mind. Speed Dream, big place bet there. 600 at the 440 on the bounce back to Belmont. Black Aura, local Sharpie Keen, 400. There's also 500 places there. ESPs, Keen dug another hole, 200 by 500. Correct choice, a bit of smart money there too. Plenty of $300 bets there. Yeah, pretty decent betting race, actually.
Dug another whole lead. Did you think?
Yep. Is that what you had, Mart?
I think it leads. We'll just leave it at that because it gets a bit messy
Had
after.
a bit of Lionel, a bit of a Lionel aspect to this speed map.
Yeah, well, could lead and give a sight too. Dug another hole. Going super, that horse.
Bradley.
At the moment, pretty open capacity
left.
field to round out the program, Bradley. I think Speed Dream is way over the odds at the moment. I think it's a really nice each-way bet. I know he's not a horse that wins out of turn, but he is a horse that is going to love getting back to Belmont Park. He's got a terrific record at Belmont, and he's just going super at the moment. He closed off in the quickest last two of the entire meeting into second last weekend behind Siberian Siren. That was in 72-plus company. Drops back to a 66. Gets to his favoured track and distance. He's had 5 starts at the Belmont 1400 for 2 wins and 2 minor placings. So while he doesn't win out of turn, if he is going to win, it's over the Belmont 1400 and the $13. While 60 kilos is a bit of weight that he does have to lug, if you can just blend in with and find a back to follow in this capacity lineup, I think he's going to run a mighty race. The $13, the old boy, Speed Dream. I think he's a good price at the moment. Dug another hole. If Brad Parnham can control and kick into the corner, I think he's really hard to run down if they've shown by this stage of the day that the fence in front has shown to be no disadvantage. I think dug another hole, given there isn't really much speed in this race outside of it, could really get things the way he's going to enjoy them to round out on the weekend. And, yeah, a couple of talented types. Was a little unsure how to line them up here. In Correct Choice is a horse I really like, and also Black Aura. Gentlemen, what were your thoughts on their last efforts? Bradley, might start with you.
I suppose if CJP was on Correct Choice, I think it might probably be everyone's favourite in the race. But just you have the Apprentice, which always a query, just because the horse seems to get along so well with CJP, and he's been riding it beautifully. So it's got to be respected. The money's been there. Black Aura, the money's been there by the local pros are pretty keen. Black Aura, it's interesting setup for it, but it is for a few horses. I'm sort of keen on D'Amber running a race from the Sticky Gate. It might need a few favours in the run, but it's a very classy animal. It says it hasn't won at the track, but it has run second 4 times, including once to the People's Mare.
Mm-hmm.
So,
how is she?
Wednesday, Belmont. She'll be improving.
Right.
Category 3, an interesting one, Mark. That was a nice win at Cal.
Good win. Always like the horse. By extravagant, isn't it? Without looking, I'm pretty sure it is.
Sure
Always
it
been
is.
something about it, but this is a step up in class. But gee, it did win well. I thought it was entitled to really handle them, though, wasn't it?
You did declare it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did declare it.
Geez, you've been tipping some winners, Mark.
Ridiculous.
You should just
You should have a tipping service.
you should have a tipping service at Kalgoorlie. But Crushane might not like that because he'd lose his spot on your show.
No, Crushane's a man. He is a man there. And by the way, he will be on tomorrow. And the Yank will be in from Carnarvon.
The who?
Yank, Jeffries.
Ah, beautiful.
Have you subscribed to markstip.com?
I will once he
Don't
sends me the
confuse
link.
everyone. We've got to work on the maps first. I'm going to throw one out here. Just on the point that it's going to trick everyone and it's no price. I reckon Black Aura up to 1,400 is going to
Take care of him.
take care of them. I reckon it was just one run too many at 1,000 last start. May have even said that before the race. I don't know. I might have dreamt I said it and said it after the race
Better eat some of those mushrooms.
with my
old
girl.
mate, yeah.
She'll get off. She's a beauty.
Come on, Brad. You've got something for us. D'Amber, is there anything else there that tickles your fancy?
No, I'm not really tickling myself with this one.
No.
Very light day on the tip.
Let's get our bests. Line them up.
Okay, here we go.
Punters, listen in.
Best bets for me on the program on Saturday. I do think Prospector's Pick will win. Race 3. Race 5, just going to wait. I do think he's a bit short, but I do love the setup for Western Power to lead and win.
Mm-hmm.
Then Quaddy Legs. We're actually tipping in all Quaddy Legs. Mart, race 6, Catch Carter.
Catch.
Really like him as a horse. Race 7, Bohemian Diamond, one of the better bets on the program. Race 8, Treble Maker to take out the time-honoured historical Racing WA Provincial Championship Series final in autumn. And race 9, Speed Dream each way for me at the price. I think that's a really nice each way quote.
Each. Okay.
Just the one. Don't let me down, Lock. You good-looking rooster, do not let me down. Behara, each way, $10. Race 4, Lock.
Doesn't generally. Very reliable, Lock.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the stable seems to be going okay from where I sit, aren't they? Jimmy and the team?
Maybe Jimmy should just put his feet up now and let Lock take over. And
No. You need
From
Jimmy.
what Lock tells us, it's already happening.
No, we need the stability that Jimmy brings to the table.
He tells us. Don't you worry.
Pakenham race number 6 isn't far away. The Grumpy Bear 320 to 235. Volatile is 550. Here the crowd 370 320. Benny Allen 11 into 9 goes Versailles and Juggernaut Joan. Massive drifter. This 370 out to 11. One before we go.
Yeah, Mart, you have
the Mundaring.
been popping your head into the races a bit more frequently than usual over the last few months, and there are a few people on the text line here asking for your gym program and routine week to week.
Well, this is what we're thinking about putting together, Rob.
I know where this is going. Another one. Another subscription.
Well, just wait. There'll be some action on socials coming up very soon, and then it'll go from there, and then you can join in.
I don't know where you're going to put all the merch.
It's coming.
Boxes and boxes.
Yeah, we've got plenty of storerooms around the place. What about your good self over there, Bradley? That means
I cannot articulate
I
the thoughts going through my head right now.
All I'm going to ask right now, you're an avid West Coast Eagle fan. Are you a chance of an upset on Sunday?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Well said.
Yep. Thanks for coming in. You've been terrific today.
Thanks.
Let's go to Pakenham.
Blowout.
We hope you enjoyed another stimulating episode of Straight Up. All betting markets supplied by TABtouch. All care, no responsibility went into the production of today's podcast.